Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, everybody. This is going to be an introductory lesson for AutoCAD 2019. So I'm going to be going through some instructions and showing you how you can begin your very first drawing. And this all begins on the course web page. So this is where I'm going to start, hwdsb.on.ca. And this is something right now that you can do on your iPad, and you're going to also be using your computer as well. But this step I'm showing you should be done on your iPad. So you're going to land on the course web page and you're going to select Student, and you're going to select the hub. And you'll have to log in if you haven't logged in a while. I've already logged in recently, so my machine remembers my login credentials. So what you're going to do next is you're going to land on this master hub course homepage, and you're going to have to select the course from the waffle. So this is the waffle right here. You're going to select this and you're going to find our course TIJ1O1-24. Exploring Technologies 2021. You're going to select this, and it's going to bring us to our specific course homepage. So this is where you're checking daily for your announcements. As you can see, this is last Friday's post. So this is always a go-to. Every time you log into the hub, you need to check your course announcements here. Next, we're going to take a look at content. And we're going to take a look at a module called AutoCAD PDF Files for iPad. Begins February 8th. There's also a sub-module called AutoCAD Single View Drawing Files for Download, which we're also going to take a look at. So let's click this first module. And here we are. So we have the file called Shape, W, and Arrow. And what you're going to notice is that there's an extension labeled under each one. It says PDF document, right? All three of these have that. So if I click on to Shape, this is what we're going to be drawing in AutoCAD as a first drawing for our drafting unit. Now this isn't in the correct orientation, the way it's been scanned. So we can flip it 90 degrees by hitting these arrows here. And if I hit that arrow that points to the right, I can select rotate clockwise, and this is the correct orientation for what I should be taking a look at here. Right here. Alright, so this is why using your iPad is so important, because you're going to be taking a look at this drawing next to your computer screen. So you're going to open this on your iPad, keep it next to your computer monitor so you can reference it as you're doing the drawing. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now I'm actually showing this to you on my computer, but I actually have this open on my iPad next to me right now. So I'm unable to show you that because I'm only capturing video on my computer monitor right now. But that's how I always complete my drawings. So that's how you should be doing it. So let's go back. And if I go into the next module below, it's a sub-module. It says AutoCAD Single View Drawings for Download. The same file names are here as seen above, Shape, W, and Arrow. But there's a difference. The difference is these are labeled underneath as DWG files. So that's important. So DWG stands for drawing, meaning that these are the files here that are going to be downloaded on your actual computer. So that's very important. Students will make the mistake, come up here, try to download the PDF document on their computer, and they can't open it in AutoCAD because it's not supposed to be opened in AutoCAD, right? These are for your iPad when you see PDF, and DWG is for your computer. So what I'm going to do is click on shape, and I'm going to hit download. It's going to download the shape drawing into my computer. So now that's ready for me for later. So by this time, you should have installed AutoCAD 2019 on your computers. You should be all verified and downloaded. So you should be able to find that on your desktop. So on my desktop, which is a bit messy right now, I do find AutoCAD 2019. You may have the light version, LT, which is okay. I don't, but it shouldn't really matter. So I'm going to be double clicking and launching the AutoCAD program from my computer. And it should look similar to this. And then if this little resolution warning pops up, which it may or may not for you, just hit OK. And we're just waiting for the program to load up. Here we go. Okay, so this is loaded up now, and the first thing I want to do is use my computer mouse here and actually maximize this window so it's fitting the perimeter of my monitor edges tightly, so I can actually use all my computer monitor space. And this is what AutoCAD looks like when you just load it up from scratch, just like I've done. So when I move my mouse, this is the crosshairs in the screen. That's what they call that. It looks like a little target. So it's got a vertical line, a horizontal line that pass through one another, and there's a little square in the middle. Looks like a little target. So this is what I'm drawing with. And I can also point with this as well. I'm going to be showing you some things here. So above here, this is your main toolbar ribbon. And to the top left, you're going to find your drawing tools. And they've placed most of the tools that you use on a regular basis out in the open. So you don't have to go hunting for a lot of things. So we're going to be using some of these basic tools in this lesson today. To the right of that is your modify tools, which we're also going to get to know quite a bit. And then to the right of that is annotation, which is adding detail dimensioning. And then to the right of that is layers. So we're going to be getting to know a lot of functionality from these main toolbar ribbons above. Where you see the black screen where the grid is, this is where all the drawing is going to occur. And down here in this white long rectangular box, this is called the command line. So this is something that we're going to be using to be able to help us with our 2 and 3 stage commands, which is something we're going to learn in a little bit. And then lastly, at the bottom here is a status bar, which is also very important to us when it comes to setting some basic options to make sure we're drawing perfectly vertically and horizontally, and when we need to actually draw some lines on angles. So there's a little bit of a tour for you on basic AutoCAD screen layout. Now, when we draw this shape drawing, we're not actually going to draw the entire thing. The border that it sits in is going to be already drawn for you, right? So I'm just going to take one last look at this. I'm going to go up to AutoCAD PDF files for iPad, hit the shape. This is what you should have open on your iPad, as I mentioned earlier. We'll rotate it. So this border that you see here is going to be drawn for you already. Okay, so let's open this up. So this should be in your downloads folder. So if you go into your downloads folder, if I say show in folder, I can see the shape drawing. So I'm gonna click it, and this warning will pop up. Most likely this drawing was not created with an Autodesk student version of the product. Hit open, and here we go. So here is the border already done for us, just from opening that downloaded file. Now before we do anything further, we want to make sure that we save this at this point. A common complaint I get from students is, oh, I did a lot of work on my drawing and it didn't save. So I just want to clear the air on saving and how these things work. So anything that you download from the hub is going to end up in your downloads folder on your computer. So if you do a quick save, it's going to save into your downloads folder. I'd like you to save it to an alternate location. The best thing you can do is create a file on your computer and start throwing your drawings in there. So for example, if I minimize this, I could create, right click on my desktop, create and left click folder, create a new folder, and I could call this my AutoCAD drawings, just like that. So I'm going to be placing all my downloaded files into this folder. So if I go back and maximize AutoCAD again, and I click the giant A in the top left corner, hit the down arrow and hit Save As, I can see how it shows that this file is in downloads, right, which I don't want. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to hit Desktop, and I'm going to scroll down to my AutoCAD drawings and hit and open that up and hit Save. So that's where it's going to be now. So I know where the file is. All right, so now we're ready to get started. When we look at the shape drawing, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the perimeter of the outside, right? So that is the general outline of this part. It's called shape because, again, it doesn't really do anything. This is just a basic introductory exercise. So we're just going to be starting to learn some of the basic commands now. So when I look at this, there's a dimension here that shows that this shape is 120 millimeters high. And it's also 180 millimeters long. I don't know if you can see that very well. If I click this again, I'm going to download it actually instead of looking at it in the hub itself. All right, so this is going to give us a little bit of a better look at it here. So as you can see here, the length of this is 180 millimeters long, and it is 120 millimeters high. All right, that's very important to understand as we get started. So let's toggle back into AutoCAD. And the first thing we're going to do is start by using the line command. So I'm going to come up with my mouse and select with a left click button line. And what that's going to do is going to turn my crosshairs, it's going to get rid of the little white square in the center. and there's a little message that floats with the crosshairs. It says specify first point. It also says it down here in this command line, specify first point. So AutoCAD is asking me, and we'll be asking you, where do you want to start? You got to pick somewhere to start. So I'm going to zoom in to this little L here. So you can use the wheel on your mouse. You can wheel in if you wheel forward, and wheeling backwards will zoom you out. So you can zoom in. And if I just float my cursor around this, I'm not pressing anything, these little snaps start to show up. And it says endpoint. And it says here endpoint. And it says here endpoint. So these are called object snaps. And these are extremely important to us when we're using AutoCAD. Because if we don't have object snaps, it's very difficult to connect new lines to existing lines and have everything kind of interlock the way it should on a drawing. So we have to know first where to click. I can click here or here or here. Well, I want to click here in the bottom left endpoint where these two lines are meeting one another. So this is where you're always going to start on one of these drawings. You're always going to start at the bottom left endpoint for every drawing that you complete for this unit. This is going to ensure that the drawing centers itself automatically inside the title block as we go. So to get started, we're going to left click when I see the endpoint active, and that toggles a line perfectly snapped to that origin. And as you can see, when I zoom in and out, I can pull the line any which way I want, which is actually not good. I want this line to be perfectly straight when I draw it up. And the way to do that is if I go down to this bottom status bar here, and there's a little symbol here, a little L with a little square in the bottom left corner, that is the 90 degrees symbol. Right? So I need to make sure I just left click that to turn it on, and it highlights as a light blue. And now look at what's happening with my mouse. If I pull it to the right or pull it above, I'm only getting perfectly straight lines. I'm unable to draw a line on an angle. AutoCAD will not let me. But if I turn that off, if I just left click it again and it de-illuminates, I can swing this line anywhere I want. So we want to make sure that when we're drawing, we're keeping ortho on about 95% of the time. We're only ever going to turn it off if we want to draw some angles. So I'm going to go back down, turn it on again, and now I'm going to pull the mouse in the direction I want to go and key in a distance. So we just talked about this. The shape, the height of the drawing is 120 millimeters. So all these units are in metric, they're in millimeters. So I'm going to type in 120 and hit enter. And that's going to draw the line exactly 120 millimeters high. So you don't want to, when you're drawing lines, you don't want to look at the preview that you're getting. As I move the mouse back and forth, I'm getting these numbers highlighted in blue. Don't try to pinpoint it that way. You actually have to key in the value with the keyboard and then hit enter, and that will draw the line. So I don't know how far I'm supposed to draw this line here. So I would go back to my iPad and I would look. So there's an angle here, or a little bevel you could call it, which we're not going to worry about at this time. So we're going to pretend it's not there, and we're going to draw a line horizontally over. Now, because we're ignoring this angled bevel, we're going to have to add these two numbers up, and that's going to give us our distance to input. So 20 plus 30 is going to be 50. So we're going to key in 50 and type enter. And now we're going to pull the line down vertically. And this line, the length is listed here. It's showing as 40 millimeters. So I'm going to key in 40. And I'm going to pull this line the direction I want to go horizontally. It's showing a distance of 80. So I'm going to key in 80, enter. And I'm going to come up again. I can key in 40, enter. Again, these numbers are the same because it's a symmetrical part. 50. I'm going to come down again, 120 like I did at the start. And then I'm going to come over here and key in the last value, which is 180. And then it allows me to continue on, but I want to actually end the command now. So there's a few ways to end the command. One way I'll teach you right now is to hit escape.